Good evening. What's going on, guys? It is currently Sunday night or Monday morning. Just got off work and I have to put in some time on the Miata. So this weekend I'm actually heading to Cleetus and Cars Houston with the Plumber's Crack burnout van. So I won't be able to work on the Miata this weekend. So my intentions are this. The turbo kit's done. All the fabrication work has been done. Again, excuse the hole in the hood. I'm not happy about it. So basically everything we got fabricated, everything that's raw. So like this can, the upper lower intake manifold, the intercooler, everything's gonna get powder coated. And so I figured since I'm not gonna be able to work on the car this weekend, my plan is to get everything to powder coat as soon as possible. That way it's done as soon as possible. And hopefully when I get back Monday, maybe it will be done the front half of next week. That way next weekend, I have the ability to button the whole car up and maybe even fire it up. So the plan right now is we have to strip basically the whole turbo kit off. And I want to get the bumper off to really show you guys what we ended up doing. So anyway, let's get to it. Alrighty, so now you see that the bumper is off, so I'm going to show you basically everything that we did while we were doing the fab work. So starting off with the front, he welded these cool tabs onto the frame rail horns, and we have one bumper bracket on this side, radiator mount on each side. And I didn't like, it had a little bit of a flex to it. So as you can see here, there was a vertical bar added, tabbed there, and then it's tabbed right here. So it basically, I mean, you can see it right there, keeps it very sturdy. I got one on each side. So the radiator is actually mounted on really strong. Before the turbo was mounted on this bar, it came across. Obviously we don't use the full thing, but this is still being used for that support over there. We still have a Maven turbo mount that supports the turbo. You can see my, I have a collector down there. It's a 2.5 inch to a single 3-inch inlet. And I'm using a Streetcar Fabrication T6 turbo flange. This is a T6 132 housing, a Bullseye 85mm billet turbo. I still have my Precision 66mm wastegate. So as you can see, the exhaust is pretty straightforward. There's still plenty of room underneath. I can fit my hand between the frame and the exhaust, so that's perfect. As far as the intake manifold is concerned, since I don't have an LS3 map sensor, I had him weld up the plug down there. On the front of the intake manifold, I had him weld me on those two 1/8 inch bungs and a 3/8 NPT for air temp. And then that'll be map reference, and that'll be for my blow-off valve and my fuel pressure regulator reference. The water pump got welded straight to the radiator. This is that cool sheet that the laser company made for me. So I have my single fan. My radiator hose ended up having to be solid, which ended up looking pretty sweet. This is the can. So I'll have my two headlines come from here, and that'll be for the steam port. So honestly, everything came out freaking sweet. I love how everything's set up. There's so much space to work on stuff. So what my plan is right now is I want to take everything apart. And like I mentioned, I want to shave down where this says Holley. And we are going to completely grind off and smooth these posts, because obviously I'm not going to use them for a throttle cable bracket. And then pretty much everything will be ready for powder coat. So time to start wrenching. All right, so now you can see I got a lot of the stuff off. But one thing I want to show that I haven't been able to show yet is this is actually what we use for a turbo mount. So this is, you know, secured onto the frame of the car, and this goes off to the Maven turbo mount. The cool part about this setup right now is the fact that this is my drain hose for the turbo. So I don't ever have to touch that as long as, you know, this is still in place, but the turbo gets O-ringed right there and it bolts down and that's it. So, I mean, look how simple my drain hose is this time. Straight shot, no interference with the crank. It's pretty close, but I mean, it's all pretty good. So I just got to take this off. And now that you can see this, you see this bumper bar. So it secures to the headlight right there. And then it has 4 tabs for the bumper. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then these tubes right here are actually meant for my hood pins to slide in. So this time around, I'm gonna end up using quick latches. Got a pile of stuff right here. I don't know where my hood pins are at. Bear with me one sec. Unfortunately, right before I left the fabricators, I threw everything into my little bucket right here. And all right, we'll get to that later. So last thing I got to do is pull off that little bumper bar and pull off the turbo mount, because those are going to get powder coated. And then we will pull apart the intake manifold setup and start grinding. Well, after going at it for like 35-40 minutes, all the letters are off. The posts are down as best as I can do. It's the best as I can do with the damn angle grinder. The downside is there became, I guess the hole for the threads was a little bit deeper than the actual like surface here. So I'm going to see if Ivan can fill that in with something that's good for powder coating. But honestly, it's getting powder coated wrinkle black, so the wrinkle black will probably fill it in that hole to where I'll never see it. So I'm not even worried about it. So back in the garage. Alrighty, so back here in the garage, I have everything laid out that I will be taking to powder coating. So the exhaust, the turbine housing, and the wastegate pipe will be ceramic coated black. The upper, the lower, the intercooler pipe, coolant expansion tank, front radiator bar, turbo mount, all the bracketry, and the turbo housing will all be wrinkle black. So I know I could just slap the car together right now and get it running, but this is just how I am when it comes to working on my car. I like to have it show worthy and very clean. So everything has to get powder coated, especially going to Texas. I want this car looking beautiful. So I'm kind of pooped already. It is 5:12 a.m. So I got to get some sleep. That way I can drop all this stuff to the powder coaters before work tomorrow. So I appreciate you guys watching the video, and stay tuned for this week. Like I said, we're going to Houston, so I'm excited. I'll be with the burnout van, and let's see what kind of shenanigans we can get into in Houston. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.